Processing information. Now, Radio 1's digital update.
On tonight's show, The Orb's Alex Paterson breaks every bone in his body
Oh, hit the wall.
in a fashion-conscious snowboarding game.
It's cool.
Whilst top techno-sci-fi writer Jeff Noon spills his pixel juice all over our nice clean floor.
And here's Gawping at You, baby, is the world turning into The Truman Show.
I'm Rachel Reynard, and lurking in the bushes with a telephoto eyeball, that's Charlie Brooker.
Hello, this is the digital update on Radio 1.
Snowboarding, the art of surfing down an icy mountain balancing on an expensive plank, is now more popular than fun itself. It also makes for a great video game. The latest example is 1080 snowboarding for the Nintendo 64. We sat ambient dance granddad Alex Paterson from The Orb in front of it and forced him to give it a spin. You're having a go on 1080 snowboarding here.
I do it very well. I hate Nintendo. I just don't like this thumb action. I'm an old school. I like buttons. I like pressing me knobs.
You're represented on screen by a pint-sized, fearless maniac, chosen from a selection of irritating whippersnappers from all four corners of the globe. I think that's the British character you've actually chosen there. I mean,
Yeah, I'm British.
Ready, go!
that's a nice hat you're wearing.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
This game is being partly sponsored by Tommy Hilfiger. I mean,
I better put me right off it now.
are you going to deliberately try and hurt the character
Go
patch?
straight into the wall.
Ow!
Hit the wall.
Do you play lots of video games in general?
Yeah, I've got an old school upright arcade Space Invaders machine in my front room. 17, 18, me and my mate used to go down the local kebab shop. After going up to the music machine and getting lagered up and speeded up, we'd go and play Space Invaded up until 4 in the morning. Doing well.
So, I mean, did you go into arcades any more today?
Yeah, the newest game they got is horse racing. It's like a bike, but it's a horse. You've got to jump with the horse going over the fences. If you whip the horse too much, it exhausts itself and dies.
You can actually beat the horse to death.
Almost, yeah.
It's called 1080 snowboarding, but it isn't set in the year 1080. That would be mad. The 1080 refers to spinning through 1080 degrees in mid-air. That's because apart from racing, the game also encourages you to attempt a series of foolhardy stunts, which in real life would end with you being stretched into an air ambulance while your friends stood around going,
Whee! See, I got through that all right now.
oh, here's a jump coming up.
I missed it.
You're chickening out there. Here's another one.
I landed all right. I got through that. Oops.
Describe what you're doing here.
Yeah, I'm just hurting myself a lot.
The Orb's greatest hits compilation, UF Off, is out now. And so is 1080 snowboarding. And that's Snow Joke.
Charlie.
Yeah?
コンピューターもとってもいい on Radio 1.
Carmageddon 2, the tasteless driving game in which hundreds of innocent pedestrians get carred to death, is giving Britain's film censors grief. And it isn't just the gory content that's the problem. It seems for several weeks the BBFC couldn't actually play the game because they didn't have the right graphics card. Still, with that problem sorted out, the board's called in a team of psychologists to help decide whether the game is a sick piece of filth capable of turning everyone in Britain into a raging psychotic or not.
Avant-garde techno artiste Squarepusher has garnered a reputation for sounding like a cross between an angry modem and a fight in a drum factory. But now, bizarrely, he's turned into a Luddite. His new album, the obscurely titled Music is Rotted One Note, was recorded without the use of any sequencers whatsoever. It's out now, and it sounds like this. Nice.
As the number of people with email addresses grows, so does the potential for scaremongering chain letters. Most one of the worrisome, yet bogus computer viruses. The newest example doing the rounds is downright terrifying, if you're a particularly gullible disciple of the herb. The email, with the subject line, "A warning to all smokers of marijuana," purports to come from the World Health Organization and claims terrorists have been spiking weed from Afghanistan with anthrax.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Peter Anderson from the World Health Organization says it's a fake.
We would never be in any position to make such a statement, and certainly we haven't made any such statement.
As ever, more information on all this week's stories can be found flopped across the sofa surrounded by ashtrays and sweet wrappers at the Radio 1 website at
www.bbc.co.uk/radio1/.
Jeff Noon.
Occupation.
Writer.
New book.
Pixel Juice.
Books themselves may be low-tech bundles of paper and ink, but the contents don't have to be. Just ask Manc writer Jeff Noon. His unique brand of deranged technocentric pulp has earned him a large following. His latest book is a collection of stories entitled, snappily, Pixel Juice.
Pixel Juice is what happens when you squeeze a word processor and all the juice runs out. And what I've done is I've collected the juice and I've put it into a book.
Thirsting for a brain full of pixel juice ourselves, we sat cross-legged on the floor while Jeff read aloud.
It was the end of a 5-night shift and some dumb-ass flot had got himself hooked on a pirate trans. By the time we got there, the game was frozen solid and overlaid with these stupid dancing prawns. Low-level broadcast, most probably from Beanie's Fisherama, over on level 5. The advert was in the image, and by now the desperate need for some seafood would be implanted in the kid's head.
Noon's fictional landscape is a gritty, futuristic world in which technology and biology are fused together like separate eggs in one gigantic sci-fi omelette. And many of his fictional inventions have familiar names. For most authors, blurb is the empty piffle printed on the back of a book. But in Noon's world, it's something altogether more sinister.
A blurb is an insect, a kind of robotic creature and a real creature, and they fly around the streets and they have messages that they've been programmed into them, and they constantly repeat these messages, whispering at you all as you walk down the street. You know, you must buy this now, buy this product now. So they're kind of individual personalised adverts that you just can't get rid of.
And autogen.
An autogen is a robotic kind of figure that has been hatched. It's a kind of mixing together of genetic material, very much like a sexual process done by people with white coats on, you know, and pipettes. I swung the spoiler over to the screen, took aim, fired. The game screen seemed to melt for a second, turning pixel sheen, and then came back online with a hard reboot. The prawns were dead adverts and the game was back in play. The flop boy jerked into action, fingers jabbing automatic at the duck and dive buttons too damn slow. Screen death. Shit, how did that happen? Let's go catch some seafood. My books aren't hideous warnings. They're celebrations of a certain way of being, which is to do with celebrating change and being open to different inputs. In one of my earlier books, I had this character who kept saying, open all channels, connect to everything.
Since Jeff doesn't poo bricks at the very thought of the future, we asked him to make like Mystic Meg and squint eerily forwards into a crystal ball.
I think once we're into the millennium and we've got that past us, then we'll turn around and think, oh, it's just more or less the same as it was in 1998 and 1999, you know, it hasn't actually changed that much. And I think maybe by about 2010, people have started to think, the future's most probably over now, so we'll enter the post-future age. We'll have these post-future kids. God knows what they'll be into. Maybe they will listen to Schubert and playing chess.
Yeah, but only if it was a really violent version of chess.
Konnichiwa, it's a computer world.
Coming to you now from the largest studio ever constructed, it's The Truman Show!
Aren't you glad that the world isn't like The Truman Show?
What if you were watched every moment of your life?
Well, maybe it is.
How many cameras you got there in that town?
Visit www.spy.org.uk and you'll find a huge list of legal closed-circuit TV cameras taking a sneaky peek at what we're all doing.
Good morning!
Good morning!
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
There are links to happening examples, including the exciting Belfast traffic camera relaying eerily compelling live footage of cars
He's heading west on Stewart.
lined up in queues,
Okay, he's making his turn onto Lancaster Square.
waiting at a junction.
Oh my God!
If that doesn't leave you feeling violated, how about nauseating Peeping Tom websites, where lonely inadequates swap the saucy illegal snaps they've taken with tacky hidden cameras? During his research, Charlie found an alarming number of them.
And I steadfastly ignored them.
For hours. You know something, Charlie? You sicken me to the core.
We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Now plummeting down your chimney with a great big sack of noise toys, it's Radio 1's very own John Peel.
Discontinue. Tomorrow, 10 p.m, the movie update on Radio 1. The update. On Radio 1.